Hello everyone, Giltar here with another video on toy customization techniques. Now this time it will be a little different than what I've done so far. I'm not actually going to demonstrate the procedure on camera for what I'm going to discuss, simply because the main tool I'm going to be using in this customization procedure will be a hair dryer, which is very loud, and this is a procedure that will take at least a few minutes, because what you're going to do is essentially remove one of these wheels from one of your toys, in this case a Transformers toy, and it does require repeated heatings of the plastic and manipulation of certain plastic parts in order to have the wheel removed. So I'm just going to show you the parts, explain it to the best of my ability verbally, and hopefully you guys get a good idea of how it's done. It's kind of a simple idea, but again, like I said, it is fairly involved. And actually, it is something that is more involved than my previous videos on the procedures for removing the two types of metal pins and joints that are more common in toys. But getting back to this procedure, this is something that I've not either heard, seen, or have read explained on the internet. As far as customization, the type of wheel I'm dealing with today will be a plastic wheel that's a whole single structure, and it connects to a point of the toy that is simply just a plastic part, a round circular plastic part. There is no pin. There's nothing really complex about this type of assembly, but it's not easy to remove with common tools, just because these three plastic tabs are essentially in the sort of normal state of the toy, are pressed out a little further so that they'll actually catch on the sides of the circular structure and keep the wheel in place. And that's great because it's a really secure connection. It's basically a simplified approach to assembling the toy, so I believe you can cut costs, and not just on material but also labor. But for anybody who likes to customize, this might be a little hurdle that is potentially somewhat frustrating, because again, in my experience, nobody has really talked about this online. I mean, if people have, it's been in a spot where I haven't found at the major Transformers and other customization forums and websites. Now, the basic procedure is you're going to take a toy like this, a common hair dryer like this Dura brand that I have, and something adequately small like a flat-headed screwdriver like I have here. And the basic idea is that you're going to take the toy, take the hair dryer, and about 1.5 to 2 inches away from the part you want to disassemble, basically direct the hot air towards that part, let the plastic heat up appropriately to the point where it is going to be malleable. So that usually is about 1 minute, maybe a minute and a half. Now when you get to that point, you're basically going to set aside the hair dryer, turn it off, take something like this flathead screwdriver, and basically go in and push gently but firmly one of these tabs towards the center. The goal is basically you're going to push all three tabs towards the center so that eventually the wheel itself can come free of this spot here. Now, because the way that this type of more rigid plastic will heat up fairly quickly, but also cool down fairly quickly, I approach this by doing a three-part procedure essentially. I heated up the wheel, pressed in one of the tabs. I heated up the wheel again, pressed in another tab, and then did it a third time. And by the third time, basically this wheel fell out, or pretty much nearly. I was able to just tug on it, and it just popped out really easily. Now for reinsertion of this wheel into the part, you basically just put it back in and basically do the procedure in reverse. You're going to heat up the wheel, and then using something like this flathead screwdriver, you're going to go into the center and nudge back these tabs to the sides again. I don't know what kind of terminology people use to refer to this type of wheel. I just call it a tension or a pressure lever wheel. It's the best kind of description I can come up with at this time. If anyone out there knows what this kind of wheel is called, or perhaps has a different suggestion for what to refer to it as, please let me know. Leave a comment. Yeah, again, this is something that not a lot of people talk about, if anyone at all. And in my sort of limited time so far in exploring customization of toys, I've looked for people explaining a procedure to remove these wheels. I haven't been able to find any, so basically here you go. I hope this really helps out a lot of you guys out there who are into the newer toys, because this type of wheel assembly is something that I've only personally seen in at least Transformers toys within the last year and a half or so. In the Prime toys is where I personally can recall seeing these pop out first. And right now, Hasbro and Takara Tomy are kind of inconsistent. Some of their toys will use these tension lever or pressure lever tab wheels, and then some of their other toys will use the more traditional pin secured wheel. So I'm not sure if they want to move on fully into this assembly process or go with a sort of half and half approach. Anyways, I hope you guys find this tip video useful. As usual, thank you very much for watching. I hope if you guys have any feedback, just let me know, as long as it's constructive and helpful. If you have alternative procedures you'd like to suggest, please let me know as well. I'd love to hear better, easier, and more efficient ways of doing these custom procedures. So yeah, have a great day. See you at the next video.